Good morning from the Cedarville University newsroom, and welcome to FYI, a community affairs program of this station. I'm Mark Weinstein, Executive Director of Public Relations at Cedarville University, and your host for today's program. Today on the program, I have two leaders from Cedarville University who have been instrumental in the creation and implementation of the new Cedar Care Village Pharmacy that will open in early 2019 in the village of Cedarville, Ohio. Joining me today in the newsroom are Dr. Mark Sweeney, the founding dean of the School of Pharmacy, and Dr. Jeb Ballantyne, Director of Pharmacy Services at the soon-to-be-open Cedar Care Village Pharmacy. And I might note that Dr. Ballantyne comes from a long line of pharmacists in his family, and he was on the School of Pharmacy faculty for a number of years before taking on this new role. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Mark.
Before we dive into the program, I want to talk a little about the Pharmacy Initiative in a minute, but I want to get to know you guys so our audience really gets a grasp of who you guys are. So let's start with Dr. Sweeney. From your bio, you've been at Cedarville for a number of years, and you are the founding dean of the School of Pharmacy. What prompted you to come to Cedarville and start a pharmacy program, that is?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, the reality is that Cedarville University is a very unique place to learn. It's a very unique educational environment. And the opportunity to come here to build essentially the nation's only program, the only school of pharmacy where both the have Christian students and Christian faculty and staff is a really cool opportunity in many ways. And part of that is we really seek to build into the student lives such that they understand what it means to be a minister for Jesus Christ and also an exceptional pharmacist. And that can come together here at Cedarville in a very, very unique way.
Is Cedarville University the only school of pharmacy in Ohio that's Christian?
Well, again, depending on how you define Christian, but we are the only school that has Christian faculty and staff, Christian students, that integrates Scripture's biblical teaching and our faith into the learning experience.
So it's unique.
It's unique, yeah.
It's a unique program. I've noticed from your bio that you obviously you have the pharmacy education, but you also have a seminary background or degree. How does faith and your Master of Divinity degree specifically mesh with your PharmD degree, and how do you use it?
So I think that was one of the reasons why Cedarville was attractive to me, because it was an opportunity to pull those two things together. I love teaching. I love teaching patients. I love teaching students. I love teaching people. So an opportunity to put those two pieces together and teach biblically and teach it from a healthcare perspective was really exciting for me. And honestly, from a ministry standpoint, we know that Jesus had started his ministry where the people had the most need. And when you look at healthcare, the idea that the healthcare system is a great mission field. People have physical and real needs, and the opportunity to engage and serve them for the sake of Christ exist on the other side of that need, if you will.
I also noticed from your bio that you're involved with the Ohio Pharmacists Association and other healthcare organizations in the state of Ohio. How does your relationship with these organizations help you professionally and help you teach students appropriately? How do those relationships really benefit the students?
So, it's interesting because a lot of people don't always recognize all the behind the scenes that go on with regards to professional initiatives and education across the state. But really, if you think about it, all of the laws that are coming out in the state of Ohio are influenced by the people. And the Ohio Pharmacists Association is a key organization that influences healthcare laws with our Ohio Senate and Ohio House, the Congress of Ohio. Mm-hmm. And so that relationship between myself and OPA and the school and OPA keeps us not only tied into what's happening, but gives us a voice to speak into what is happening as well. I'd always would rather be in a situation where we're proactively affecting laws rather than reacting to them. And I think that's the best place for us and our students to be in. And honestly, it's created many opportunities for our students to actually speak and talk with legislators about the way healthcare should be done. And it's been a really, really good relationship.
Yeah, I can see that. We've been on the staff at Cedarville for a number of years together. And one thing that I would say that you are proactive. You are looking for ways to be out in front and take the lead on many, many issues. Opioid is a classic example. What you guys have done through the School of Pharmacy is phenomenal. So I applaud you for being a cutting-edge, proactive type of guy.
Thank you.
Let's before we give Dr. Sweeney too much credit for all he's done. He's done a great job here. Let's meet Dr. Jeb Ballantyne. Now, Dr. Ballantyne, in this new role, you're coming out of the School of Pharmacy as a faculty member, but as I mentioned in the outset, you come from a long line of pharmacists in your family. Tell me the history of your family and the fascination with pharmacy.
Well, all right. I'm actually a fourth generation pharmacist. So my great-grandfather he went to pharmacy school in 1888. He went down to the University of Cincinnati for 6 months. Now it's 6 years, but at the time it was 6 months, and he opened his drugstore in a little town not too far from here called New Carlisle.
Sure.
In 1888. And then when his son, my grandfather, graduated high school, he went to pharmacy school and then ran the store. And then my father actually became a pharmacist and ran the store. So those three people all were small town pharmacists. And then I'm fourth generation. And my son is actually enrolled here at Cedarville in pharmacy school, so
right.
he'll be the fifth generation pharmacist.
So how does the background, the heritage of your family play into what you're going to be doing starting in 2019 of really running the Cedar Care Village Pharmacy?
Well, I think it's really neat. I've never actually owned my own store or run my own store, but this is a chance to sort of return to my roots. Like I say, my great-grandfather, grandfather, and
right.
father were that small town local pharmacist that you think of. And so here's a chance for me to be that small town local pharmacist, the person that people come in and they know my name and I know their name and I know their kids and just I know their lives and can, as Mark said, you minister them, whether it's via health. Health is sort of the vehicle that brings them into the pharmacy, but then we can minister to them whatever needs they might have.
Sure. So I know a little bit of Dr. Sweeney's academic background. I know he received his PharmD from Ohio State. He's worked at a couple schools in Northern Ohio in pharmacy. I don't know your background as well. So where did you get your pharmacy training?
Well, back when I went to school, it was a little bit different. I received my bachelor's degree in pharmacy at University of Houston in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And from there, I went on and got my Doctor of Pharmacy degree, or PharmD, at University of Kentucky. So today, there's no such thing as a bachelor's degree. That PharmD is the entry-level degree. But at the time, I think Mark did it that way too. Mm-hmm. You had to get 2 separate degrees.
Okay. You don't look that much older than Dr. Sweeney, so you hold your age really well.
Thank you.
I'm not going to comment on that comment.
That's fair. So final question to you, Dr. Ballantyne, is I know a little bit about you, and pharmacy is obviously a passion for you and your family. But outside of pharmacy, what other activities do you enjoy doing?
Well, activities. I enjoy, I play drums.
Okay.
Actually, Dr. Sweeney plays piano, and we play music together sometimes.
You're in a band?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so I enjoy playing music. Just last night I went to learn how to curling from the Olympics.
Sure.
So that may become a hobby of mine, I don't know.
Where do you do that around here?
This was at the Dayton Riverscape. They have a little ice skating rink down there,
Sure.
and they have it set up for curling.
How interesting. Well, we'll maybe at the end we can get back into some of these interests, but it's great to have both you guys in studio, and thanks for spending time with our audience to talk about the Cedar Care Village Pharmacy. For you just listening, today we're talking with Dr. Mark Sweeney, Dean of the School of Pharmacy at Cedarville University, and Dr. Jeb Ballantyne, the pharmacist at the new Cedar Care Village Pharmacy that is located in the village of Cedarville and is scheduled to open in early 2019. Let's swing back to you, Dr. Sweeney. Why did Cedarville University decide it was an important decision to open a pharmacy in the village of Cedarville?
So, if we go back, we used to have an independent pharmacy here in town, and in 2017, the owner of that pharmacy decided to sell that pharmacy, and that individual sold the pharmacy to a large retail chain pharmacy, which they ultimately decided to close the Cedarville community pharmacy and move basically all of those prescriptions into Xenia, which is about 15 minutes from here. So that left the community without a pharmacy, and so I applaud Dr. White, who saw that need, and Dr. White, the president of Cedarville University, wanted to take the steps to how can we fill that gap here in the community, and so worked with him, the School of Pharmacy, and the president and the board of trustees to begin taking the steps to kind of fill that gap again. And if you think about it, you know, a small community has a lot of perks to it, but one of the challenges are resources. And to kind of essentially not have a community pharmacy as a resource is notable. And we wanted to serve the community by bringing that pharmacy back into town. So we launched Cedar Care, which is a separate entity from the university, and we're taking the strides to launch here in February of 2019.
Was launching a pharmacy more difficult than you anticipated, or what were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome to get this thing up and running?
So we don't have time to go through all the obstacles, but let me just tell you that when you buy a building that's over 100 years old, and you begin to get into that building, there's a lot of physical challenges to renovating it, and but by God's grace, a lot of that has been overcome, and we've been able to basically renovate the building. I think the building looks absolutely beautiful right now. I think it's going to serve the community well. And you asked, why would we do this? It also creates an opportunity for our students to serve this community as well. So. Right. We're going to have our students and our faculty supporting Dr. Ballantyne down at the pharmacy, providing additional resources, educational resources, opportunities to develop consultations for patients. A lot of opportunities there. But to answer your question, yeah, there were a lot of barriers, but we're gaining strides, and we're looking to have a successful launch here in 2019.
And I have heard a lot of residents, not just in Cedarville, Ohio, but in eastern Greene County, really excited to have the Cedar Care Village Pharmacy open. And I understand it's going to open in early 2019. What kind of services are you going to provide? Either one of you can answer this. What services are you going to provide that will set this pharmacy apart from a CVS or a Walgreens?
Well, we're going to be a full-service pharmacy. First thing we want to do, our first priority is just to fill the void that was left when the other community pharmacy closed, which was filling prescriptions. So we want to just meet the prescription and the pharmacy needs of this community. So we won't really look any different, or our services will provide the same thing that the previous pharmacy did, or that a Walgreens would provide. We'll fill prescriptions, we will do immunizations, but again, we're going to be a small town village pharmacy. We're going to put our mission aligns with Cedarville University's mission, and we want to serve. So we will provide prescription delivery in the village of Cedarville. We don't have a drive-through, but we will have curbside service, so that people who come and don't want to get out of their car for whatever reason, maybe they're elderly or handicapped, maybe it's a young mother with small children strapped in their car seats, they can just text us, call us, get on the mobile app, whatever, and let us know that they're outside, and we will bring the prescriptions out to them. We're actually going to have a designated parking. The village is giving us a designated parking spot out in front of the building to kind of make that happen. But given our students and the faculty, the expertise that we have here on campus, we have the resources to provide services at this pharmacy that some of your bigger chains don't even really care to provide, and some of your smaller independents can't afford. But we have the people, the resources that we can provide. We're a school of pharmacy. We want to show what pharmacists can be doing in the 21st century legally, and what we're trained to do and what we're capable of.
And let's dive into that in just a second. Let me do a quick reset, though. For you just listening and just joining us, you're listening to FYI, a community affairs program of this station. And today I'm talking with Dr. Mark Sweeney, Dean of the School of Pharmacy at Cedarville University, and Dr. Jeb Ballantyne, the pharmacist at the new Cedar Care Village Pharmacy in Cedarville, Ohio. Now, Dr. Ballantyne, you just talked about some services. Now, those are kind of unheard of in bigger chains. So it's nice that you have a little human element to it. I've heard Dr. Sweeney, and maybe you can comment on this, talk about a teaching pharmacy, and I heard him talk about maybe a niche toward a specific angle of clientele. What can you tell us about it? What is a teaching pharmacy? How unique is that in Ohio, and what will that provide for the consumers who come in? Or the students.
No, absolutely. So let me set some landscape here. In the United States, about 40 to 50% of all people take their medications incorrectly.
Really?
So we're operating on the premise that the majority of people that we interact with are somehow not taking their medications correctly. And there's a whole long list of why that may be the case. A lot of times it's because they were never told, they were never educated, they were never provided any information about what it is. You know what? And the funny thing is, you'll go to a pharmacy and they'll say, do you have any questions for the pharmacist? Well, the problem with that is that if you don't know what to ask, how do you know if you have any questions? If you don't ask, well, should I take this in the morning or should I take this in the evening? There are some medications that are more effective if you've taken them in the evening than if you take them in the morning.
Right.
So where is that in, and that's a gap in our healthcare system. It's a gap in service provided by pharmacies across the United States. Right. So what we hope is to provide enhanced personal interaction, enhanced consultation services, and the opportunities to help patients take their medications not only correctly, but to stay adherent to them. You know, we have data to suggest that people who have high cholesterol, within 2 years, the number of patients that stop taking their medications correctly and consistently is 75% do not, actually. So you only have 25% who take them correctly. The reason why I bring all that up is because we need to be more proactive, and that's what Cedar Care Village Pharmacy is about. It's about being proactive and engaging patients, what they need to know and what they need to understand to be best managed for their care. So from a teaching standpoint, what we hope to do is model to students and provide them the opportunity to be proactive, come back to my original comment, being proactive rather than reactive.
Right.
I'd rather have patients come into the pharmacy and proactively told and informed on how they're to utilize their medications, not to react when they come in and say, I've had now this side effect or this medication is not working, because they were never educated on how best to take the medication.
So the consultation that you mentioned, the enhanced consultation, is that going to be provided by the Cedarville Pharmacy students? Is that where?
The students and the pharmacists that work there. In fact, the pharmacy is designed when you pick up your medication, it's actually a sit-down window so that you're going to sit down and talk with either a student or a pharmacist about your medications for the purpose of shaping a kind of a different culture with an experience so that it's more educational for the patient. So teaching has twofold meaning, teaching not only to the students, but teaching to the patients.
Okay.
Yeah. We made that consultation counter a sit-down area just to sort of convey the message to the patient that, hey, we're going to spend some time talking, so have a seat here, and so that they're not sort of just standing there anxious with their keys to get out the door. We're gonna spend some time talking to them.
So when I come in, and I plan to use Cedar Care Village Pharmacy because I think it's beneficial to support the local community, and I work here, so why not take advantage of it? Should I expect as a consumer then, when I pick up my medication for whatever I'm taking, that I should plan to spend more time than normal? And is that going to be is that the norm?
I think that's fair to say that. We're not just going to say, here, sign here and let you go. We're gonna want to talk to you a little bit. Okay.
And so you quickly reference a long counter. So are these consultations meetings out in the public, out in the open, or are there rooms, or how do you have the inside of the pharmacy configured?
Well, we have both. We actually, with the pharmacy counter where you would pick up your prescription, there is a little counter to sit down at and talk. that is just sort of in the pharmacy, and that's probably where most of the consultations will take place. We do have 2 patient care rooms, however, so that if we have a person who is taking a lot of medications, or we think that we do want a little bit more privacy, or it might take a little longer, we can take them into one of the private patient care rooms and talk to them in there. That's also kind of where we'll do our flu shots and things like that.
Okay, so I would assume, because Cedarville University has a very good reputation in the general public in Ohio, it should be significantly higher even in the village of Cedarville, because that's where the university is located. That gives you guys even more credibility when you want to counsel the patient. Is that a fair assessment or thought?
Well, we would hope that. Well, one other piece to that is we have 2 patient rooms, and some insurance companies will actually pay for the extensive medication reviews. So if certain patients are with certain insurance, they want the extensive review of medications. Again, you're asking about some time spent. You would want to spend extra time if it was going to improve your health.
Correct.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Right.
You know, the notion that we can drop ship people's medications to their home across the United States is somewhat of a facade, because the reality is when you drop ship medications who have real pharmacologic actions that have real consequences if not taken correctly or not adhered to correctly, we're doing our nation a disservice if we're not taking the time to actually educate people on how best to take medications.
Right.
You know.
So it's refreshing to hear of an organization, the pharmacy specifically here, that's not focused on necessarily the easiest of service, but the quality, breadth of quality. So instead of in our society where it's a very fast-paced world, you are actually committed to the health of the patient, and that's what it goes back to the very early part of this program is you are actually bringing quality health care to Cedarville, Ohio through the pharmacy. Is that correct?
That's correct. And we want this to be known. I mean, we want to be shaping the future of what expectations patients should have from their pharmacies. You know, it's interesting. Well, a lot of people have asked, well, aren't independent pharmacies diminishing in terms of number? I will tell you that if you look at the number, the 2 largest retail chains in the United States have less than 10,000 pharmacies across the United States. There are over 21,000 independent pharmacies in the United States. So collectively, we are representing a consortium that far exceeds any one chain pharmacy. So this is not unique in the sense of it is pretty common for a lot of small communities to have their own pharmacy.
But there was a trend in recent years to go away from the small town pharmacy, probably because these big time organizations were buying up these small,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, and that's still going on. It's not. I mean, that's the market, right? You know,
Yeah.
larger companies purchase smaller companies. That happens all the time. But I wanted to make sure that it was known that the university starting an independent pharmacy is not. It's not inconsistent with the current marketplace. There is still a strong independent pharmacy market across the United States.
Okay. Very neat. You're listening to FYI, Community Affairs program of this station, and today I'm talking with Dr. Mark Sweeney, Dean of School of Pharmacy at Cedarville University, and Dr. Jeb Ballantyne, the pharmacist at the new Cedar Care Village Pharmacy in Cedarville. Just a little bit ago, we were talking about the teaching aspect. So you guys are going to teach the patients. You're also going to teach your students. What's the benefit for the college student, the pharmacy college student, to have this kind of laboratory in its town to really hone and learn its skill? Because that has to be somewhat unique to have a teaching pharmacy. Can you address that, Dr. Sweeney?
So yeah, a lot of colleges of pharmacy don't have their own teaching pharmacy. So this is a really unique opportunity. And given the size of community and size of school we are, the fact that students can be scheduled literally a mile down the road from the college to have these enhanced community pharmacy experiences is a really great opportunity for our students. In fact, I see this as an attraction for students who are looking to come to Cedarville University School of Pharmacy that makes us unique in terms of that opportunity that sits at their fingertips. So,
okay.
The really cool thing is, we've talked about other pharmacies don't spend as much time talking and teaching their patients. Our students, we train our students to do that. They are trained and they spend a lot of time practicing how to talk to patients and how to teach patients. And they want to teach patients. It's just when they go to other pharmacies, their system is not set up to really allow much time for that. And so sometimes the students are, they go out there with all these skills and they're ready to practice and they can't.
Yeah.
So the beauty of what we're going to do is that the students can come practice everything that they've been learning and training to do, and hopefully see the fruits of that and how spending time with patients actually will improve the patient's welfare.
Okay. So we have just a couple minutes left in the program. And how can people who are listening to this program learn more about Cedar Care Village Pharmacy? Where can they go? And I know we don't have an official date when you're going to have the grand opening, but are there any programs set in place now where up until the grand opening, people can learn more or come in and see the pharmacy? How can people learn more about the pharmacy?
Well, a couple different ways. We have a website.
Okay.
It is cedarcarerx.com. And if you go to that, they can learn a little bit about the pharmacy, but they can also subscribe to receive our e-news updates once a month. We've just been keeping people abreast of our construction updates and bios on the different pharmacists and things like that. So they can go to our website. We have a Facebook page, which is just, Cedar Care Village Pharmacy. They can find that. But also we're going to have some open houses in January, where we're going to just invite people in to look around, tour the pharmacy, get to know us a little bit, but we're going to encourage them to bring their insurance information with them so that we'll have our computer system up and running, and we can actually register them, their name and their address and their insurance, all that into our computer systems, so that when we do open in February, they'll be able to have all that done, so we can just fill their prescriptions.
Okay. So, I've been following a little bit of the process. Now, you guys are fully approved by all the organizations that need to give you the stamp of approval to open a pharmacy. Is that correct?
Well, we just received our pharmacy license from the State Board of Ohio this week, yes. So that's the first major hurdle.
So what's next? What's the next hurdle to overcome before you open?
Well, the delay really is, now that we have our license, we can apply for the insurance contracts.
Okay.
And as you know, people have many, many different types of insurances.
Right.
Those once we apply, those can take 30 to 60 days to come through and be working. So that's really just the next, what we're going to be waiting on is those insurance contracts to come through, so that when people come in, we can actually fill their prescriptions and bill insurance.
Okay. And how is the interior of the pharmacy? Is that all ready to go right now, or is there a few more things that need
It's very near. They're just putting some finishing touches on there right now. They put doorknobs on today, and maybe a little bit next week, and then they'll be done.
Should people be excited about this new pharmacy?
Absolutely. In fact, when you walk in the door, you become excited, because it is a very nice looking pharmacy. I think people will be very, very excited about it. So.
Well, there you have it. If you live in the Cedarville area and need a pharmacy to get your prescription drugs, I encourage you to check out Cedar Care Village Pharmacy, and you will be probably very satisfied with what you see, and the service sounds like it's exceptional, and so I'm looking forward to it as well. That's today's program, which came to you from the Cedarville University newsroom. I want to thank my guest, Dr. Mark Sweeney, Dean of the School of Pharmacy at Cedarville University, and Dr. Jeb Ballantyne, the pharmacist at the new Cedar Care Village Pharmacy in Cedarville, Ohio. Thanks for joining me, guys. I also want to thank you, the listener, for spending the past several minutes with us. Please join me next month when I will have guests who will discuss today's current events from a biblical perspective. And finally, I want to thank Cedarville University for the use of this newsroom. As you know, Cedarville University teaches all of its academic programs from a biblical worldview. Whether it's in pharmacy, cybersecurity, engineering, biblical studies, or nursing, Cedarville University is a place where you can get a Christ-centered education, and I encourage you to check it out. Cedarville is located in southwest Ohio between Columbus and Dayton, and has a student enrollment of 4,200 undergraduate, graduate, and online students. Again, I encourage you to check out Cedarville University by visiting cedarville.edu. That's cedarville.edu. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day.